What is up? It is start of a new week. It is Sunday in the shop. We got a lot going on here. Got the laser over there cutting. Got wood in there that's cut, being laid out because we are working on the build for the F-150. Got everything kind of designed, laid out yesterday. Went and bought all the materials, and now we are cutting, getting things framed up. Hopefully today I'll have the sub enclosure, the amp rack, and maybe the top half framed out to where I got a pretty good idea what's going on. That's a maybe, because today at 4 o'clock I have to stop working because there are 3 birthdays today in our family. So big birthday day, so we all got to have dinner, so I'll have to stop at 4. But we got all this week to do it. This is kind of fun. I'm kind of having a good time. I'll show you what's going on over here in the laser. But what I'm doing in here is I'm cutting rings to router out for the 8-inch subs. And the reason for that is I don't have any of my rings from Mobile Solutions that actually match the size of these power-based subs well enough. In here, been getting everything cut. And I'm not gonna lie, the Gately box, I kind of dug his pocket joint. I just never really thought about doing that for car audio, I guess sub, but I've never actually did it. And I gotta say, I'm stealing the idea, because this will allow me to make the front of the enclosure without any kind of screws or anything being shown. I like it because I know they do it because they're using nice wood and birch. I'm using MDF, but the reason I'm doing it is because I have an idea for the front for maybe a magnetic grilling setup, and to have it nice and smooth without any screws would be really nice. And yes, while in town yesterday, I did go to Harbor Freight and buy that big ass 2 horsepower dust collector. The one that I saw down at Nashville at Titan, because it worked so well in their shop. I was blown away. So I went ahead and bought one, and we'll probably put the dust collector over there in the corner. And I also bought me the ugliest chair on the planet. This is a chair from, I'm gonna say, the 60s or 70s, probably a high school. It's hideous, but I paid $15 for it, and it works perfect because this is such a small area. And this little chair, this works out pretty well. And it's ugly, so I saved it. I can't say that I look okay in it. I basically am a fat man in a little coat sitting in this chair, but hey, I can turn, I can roll around. I'm happy with my $15 purchase. That was a temporary amp install I did for him about a month ago. Because he knew he was going to do this big build, so I just kind of did that as a temporary throw up there. I'm going to go ahead, unhook the battery, unhook all this wiring, get that amp out of there, get that area cleared out. Well, to you it was a short day, but to me it's been a pretty long day. As you can see how filthy I am. But I'm going to go ahead and call it a day because it's almost 4 o'clock. I got to go home, take a shower, get ready for these birthday parties, and after that, I doubt if I'm gonna want to get dressed, come back to the shop and get this filthy again. But I'll show you where we're at. So we've got the sub enclosure, it's built, got all 4/8 there. I went ahead and did dowel rod reinforcement on the inside because I need as much airspace as possible. Right here will be the amp rack. So that's tied together, so it'll look nice, coming up and then angled. Next up is to build the top half, which is gonna come out from here and do an overhang to the front of here and box back up. Then up here will be the 3-way components on each side. And then in the center, I need to do some kind of storage compartment for him. But that's gonna wrap it up for today because I'm filthy now and I need to go get cleaned up. So hope you enjoyed the short video of Sunday. You guys remember when I always said I was closed on Sundays and Mondays, right? See how well that works out for me. Oh, and it just occurred to me that it is Sunday. So I'm definitely not coming back here because I've got to edit down the video for last week. Every Sunday I forget about this. I hope my views go up a little bit every time because, man, it's hours and hours. It takes me 6-7 hours to edit all this down. So I will not be back. This is it. I'm going to go ahead and shut everything down, go take a shower, go to the birthday party, go home, and spend the next 6-7 hours after that editing down the video from last week so you guys can watch it Monday morning. I'm trying to be consistent. See you tomorrow. Monday in the shop. We're back at it on the F-150, and oh, looky there. The enclosure and the amp rack are bolted in. So I got the enclosure temporarily mounted inside here. It's perfect so far. I've got the factory bolts holding it in, so I'm not coming past the plastic edge there like the customer said. So now that I know that this is good, I can start working on the top half. I'll go ahead and do that with this piece in here so I can get everything exactly the way I want. Then we'll pull it out, start doing all the beauty panels, the trim, the upholstery, make it all pretty. And then we will pull out all of this wiring, run all the new wiring, and get this thing on its way to being finished. I think we're gonna go ahead and call it a day. Today is Monday, and I'm supposed to be closed on Mondays, but of course I never take Sunday or Monday off like I'm supposed to. But it's about 6 o'clock. I think I'm gonna call it a day because I'm just not able to get anything done today. Not as much as I wanted to because my phone is non-stop, man. It's just been blowing up. Plus I've been having to deal with a nightmare. The big build I have coming this weekend for the Chevy Cruze, the Axis AXDSP interface that works with the Bose system has been quarantined. In other words, it doesn't work, and the company has quarantined it and will not sell anymore. I ordered one last week for this guy's Cruze, find out today that I can't have one because apparently there's a problem with the software. Amp Pro looks like they'll work because this guy has a 2016 and that was a half year. They had an old body style and a new body style. He has the new body style and the Pack Amp Pro covers 2017, so that should work. So I've got that on its way. But that took up 2-3 hours of my day of trying to scurry because he's dropping it off Friday, and in Indiana, it takes me 3, 4, 5 days to get anything. A lot done as far as design, just not as much done physically. So I'll show you what I got done. Kind of cool. I'm kind of having fun doing it. It feels like I'm building a dollhouse. This has brackets, and I did nut zerts underneath. So that's holding the bottom plate here. There's bolts going into factory threads all the way across right there. So when the faceplate goes on here and the 3-ways are here, you'll be able to reach in through the speaker hole to undo that. This is where there'll be a storage compartment, so that will just be an exposed screw head. I don't need to hide it or anything. But you have access to disassemble this. Once all this gets done, which I was hoping was gonna be today, then I've gotta do beauty panels. So some kind of beauty panels that are gonna follow the contour and cover all this up, and all my wiring will be going up and in, and the amps are gonna be right here. Been pouring down rain all day. I've got a bum leg. I've been gimping around all day, so we're just gonna go ahead and call it. That's it. See you tomorrow. Tuesday in the shop, and it is really late in the afternoon. It's like 2:30 in the afternoon. I didn't get here till about 1. I slept in because I got no sleep last night. My leg is really messing with me. I tore something in the front of my right leg, like a tendon. I've just been kind of grunting through it, but it really slowed me down. I didn't get near as far as I wanted to yesterday because of it. And now I'm starting late, but luckily it's a beautiful day. So I'll probably just work into the night because it'll be a nice night. It's not going to be cold. And honestly, I like working at night. On Pimp My Ride, I used to pull all-nighters, like literally. Sun go down, sun come up. No one was at the shop. Those were my favorite times. So probably just stay late. But I'll show you what I'm working on. So this is the top half of the setup in there. So you have the sub enclosure and then this. I had to go ahead and chiseled out a channel there because I have my threaded inserts. Those are the brackets that actually bolt. I realized that those brackets are causing just enough thickness that right here, when the amps go underneath and mount, they're hitting and they're making the amps go down farther than I want. So I chiseled these out 3 ways, the power base. The woofer is got an open back on it, but the 3-inch mid-range is completely closed. So it's what you call a sealed basket. So I don't have to worry about the waves from the 6.5 interfering with the 3.5. If it wasn't sealed, I would partition this again so the 6.5 was in its own little enclosure. So to do that, I'm going to go to the laser and get a template made. So on the laser, I'm going to go ahead and cut out a template with the exact cutouts for the 6.5s, the 3, and the tweeter, exactly how I want them laid out. So then I can take them over to the router, use that as a template guide to router out these plates so everything is uniform, looks nice and pretty, and it's just done correctly. I'm thinking about doing like a drip edge right here though, bringing it out so the amps can do that little overhang and have something to mount to. But then that will also allow me to do LED lights that will shine down because I'm going to put LED lights underneath so they're shining down on the amps. So I may do like a little drip edge attachment across there. So then I can have, you know, light shining down, a real easy way to light it up with it where it isn't corny and crazy. So this is what's nice about having the laser. So I use the laser to go ahead and cut out my jig that I can use for routering out the openings and making sure, you know, how they had to be placed for everything to fit. 6.5's there. The 4-inch mid-range, 3-inch mid-range is right there, and then the tweeter up there. Now in here in the messy wood shop, we have this is the top plate. So what's gonna happen is this is gonna be an insert. So this inserts into that opening. So right around in there. I'm gonna make another piece that's gonna be a little bit larger than this that will mount to the top, and I'm gonna laser out like the logos for Power Base and my shop. So then this can be whatever color or whatever I wanna do, that'll be the backdrop. And then the overlay piece will actually have the logos on it, but the overlay piece will come over this edge and is what will create the actual border for the door. And then this will lift right off. I'll probably do magnets or something, but that way I don't have to do hinges. It'll be like a plug, like in a boat. You'd pull that out. There's how the 3-ways are gonna be set in there. Then you have the compartment and the 3-ways. I think it's about time to call it a night on Tuesday. It is 10:30 p.m. and wife's calling, so it's time to button up. Let me show you where I left off. I am nowhere near where I wanted to be, but I got a lot done, so I don't feel bad. 25% of what I do is installing the equipment. 75% is designing and doing cool stuff. I mean, I could do an install like this in a day. It's just, people come to me because of all the cool stuff that I do. I mean, if I just did basic installs here, I wouldn't be near as popular and people wouldn't come to me and I wouldn't make as much money. There's a reason people come to my shop, and that's what it's for. They don't want just a regular install. They want something unique and different, and that's what I provide. Every install, I never do the same thing twice, but it's 10:30. I got to go home. I got to take a shower, go to bed, get up, and get back at it tomorrow. Wednesday in the shop, and I've started doing a little fitting. So I'm test fitting everything, and I'm actually trying a new way of doing beauty panels. So check this out. So I've got everything in here test fitted, everything bolted right back up, just like it's supposed to. So while it was in here, I decided to go ahead and kind of work on the beauty panel. So right here is what I'm working on. Now, when I teach classes at Knowledge Fest, I teach a class called Guerrilla Fabricating. And I basically go through and I spend a lot of money buying products from other industries to see if there's a way that we can utilize them in car audio. So me and my son, since he was a little kid, we used to go to Comic-Cons all the time. So I paid a lot of attention to the cosplay. But then I started noticing their actual outfits and realized that they're making really cool looking stuff, and I wanted to know how they were doing it. So I started looking into the materials. And one of the things they use is EVA foam. Now in my class, I show multiple uses for EVA foam that I've used in the past, but I've never tried it this way. Because normally to do a side panel, like a beauty plate here, that's gonna be removable, I would use like some kind of hardboard or a masonite, but this is such a strange shape that the only way to really create this or to get this is to get something malleable or have to do fiberglass. So I thought, hell, I'll give it a shot and try the EVA foam. So I made a pattern out of cardboard, I cut it, and then I put it up, and I've got tape holding it in place. And I just hit it with some, that Mod Podge or Pod Modge or whatever you want to call it. It's what they use for sealing it. That's why it's kind of got a little shine there, and that's some still drying. And I hit it with the heat gun, and hopefully here within about half an hour, I'll be able to untape that, take that out, and it's still going to be a little flexible and move, but hopefully it holds its shape for all of these contours. So I've got my EVA foam here, the molded piece, ready to carpet. I'm gonna go ahead and carpet it black, and then we're gonna test fit and see if it's actually gonna work. I'm gonna say it worked out. Actually worked out pretty cool. I'm not mad at it at all. It's not fastened or anything, it's just sitting there naturally. Yeah, let's go ahead and get the other side done and get it in. Once it's in, I can make my lines, get everything how I want, and then I'm gonna have to pull everything back out. So it's about 10:30 at night, so I think I'm gonna call it a day. I really wanted to keep going. I didn't get near as far as I wanted to. I've said that every day this week. Having a bum leg is really slowing me down, and I'm doing things on this install that I've never done before. I know this customer will let me keep this truck as long as I want, so I'm kind of abusing that, but it's allowing me to try techniques that I've never been able to try, and I want to see if they work. And so far, I've got a couple really cool things I've done, but I'll show you where I'm at with the enclosure and the EVA foam and what I didn't get to tonight. So here's the enclosure. We've got the bottom wrapped in black leather, and the top is done in a black felt. So this is pretty well ready to be pre-wired up. So that's what'll be happening tomorrow. And here we have the top plate that's going to hold the three-way components and the compartment. This will be getting done tomorrow, and then pre-wiring it as well for the three-way component set. And over here we have the EVA foam that I carpeted that I'm going to do for the trim on the sides. I'm actually kind of pleasantly surprised that it looks like it's going to work. And that's it. So 10:30 on a Wednesday night. I'm going to go ahead and call it. The build for this weekend is actually being dropped off tomorrow morning. I'm not going to have this truck done before I jump on the next build. It's just not possible. So I need to go home, take a shower, come back tomorrow, get this thing to where everything is installed at least, and we're about ready. But then I'm going to move it out of the way, get the Chevy Cruze pulled in, because that's got to be started on Friday, and it's getting a pretty big system. So see you tomorrow. Thursday morning. Had to think about that for a minute. We're back. Left last night about 10:30. Now we're back. It's about 8 a.m. It's just so busy around here. Give you an example. This is what I see when I come to the shop this morning. You have the boat. There's the Chevy Cruze for this weekend. And we have a Dodge, I believe, Journey. I'm not sure. Minivan, SUV, whatever you want to call it. Getting a little busy around here. And here we have it assembled here on the table. Got everything wrapped up top. That plug is temporarily seated in there. I'm gonna have to do some work because the vinyl actually took up more space. I'm gonna trim that down. The next step is pre-wire. I'm gonna put the amps, make sure they're gonna sit there okay. And then I'm gonna take the top off, and we're gonna sit here for the next 3 hours and wire all the power, the ground, the remotes, the speakers. We're gonna run everything over here to the side. I may build a little junction box here to mount so it looks nice. Everything's gonna come through, the wire's gonna come out right here. And that's where I'll put the distribution block's gonna be here. And then I need to create plugs for the speakers. So then this whole module is just a plug and play setup. So it's about midnight on Thursday and I can't go anymore. I'm exhausted. So I'll show you where I ended up. We have the amps mounted, wired, everything done on there. We have the crossovers mounted. These are for the rear three-way components. So those, and there's the wiring for the three-way components that'll go up into this piece. That mounts on top of that other enclosure there. And then on the side here, this is kind of where a lot of the work went. So made a plate for the RCAs. So we got the rear, front subs, we'll plug in there. We've got all the wiring, the distribution. So these are the speaker. So I need to solder these ends of the plugs in the truck. So then I can plug right in. We'll run power and ground into that block. The relay, which is turning on everything. I think I've got about one solid day, a full day, and it'll be done. But I've got the Chevy Cruze pulled in now. That's got to be started tomorrow because that's got to be done by Sunday. So I've only got 3 days to do this Chevy Cruze. So the F-150 is going to have to go on the back burner for the weekend, and I'll have to jump back onto it Monday, which I was really hoping to have Monday off, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. And I'll be back here at 8 a.m. It's a glorious life. See you tomorrow. What's up? It's Friday in the shop, and it's going to be a drag-ass day because I'm exhausted. And here's the Cruise, and here's for the first time ever on the YouTube channel, Padawan. That is my Padawan. If you don't know what a Padawan is, watch Star Wars and get a life. Outside of that, Padawan, how you doing today?
Doing pretty good.
All right. He's doing the speakers on the Cruise. So he got the front doors. He's already got those done. This does have the Bose premium sound. So right now he's doing the rear doors. Looks like he's getting ready to take that panel off. And he took off the other side here, and he doesn't like it because these clips right here are very violent sounding when you take them off, and it sounds like you're breaking everything. Here in the trunk's my little nightmare. His trunk was full of water, like literally 4 or 5 inches of water. It was insane. I am doing an amp rack that's gonna float. So that right there, the amp rack's just laying down and it's a temp deal. I'm gonna use that little right angle, see my little tape lines. You don't know what you're looking at. It's all gibberish right now, but it's pretty cool. I'm, machining stuff. I'm making brackets. It's really impressive. It's like I'm an engineer. So I'm gonna make that, and the reason it's a floating amp rack is this dude wants to be able to take the sub box out so he can get to a spare tire if he ever needs to. Normally, I would say we better go with a single sub, but if you saw this customer, you'd realize he's built like a brick shit house, and he looks like a little Incredible Hulk, so he's not gonna have a problem taking the box out if he needs to. So the box will be sitting right there, he can pull it out, and then this floor, you can lift it, and then pull it right out from underneath where the amp's gonna be floating. Cool, I gotta get to work. All right, so it's 9 o'clock on Friday, and I didn't really film anything because I'm just trying to get as much done. I'm so backed up here, but the Chevy Cruise threw a little bit of a twist at me. The Pack Amp Pro is what I'll be using, but this is a Bose with the MOS system, which means it's digital. Usually the Pack Amp Pros have a harness that lets you tie into the factory speaker lead so you can power the speakers through the speaker leads. I noticed this harness didn't have anything. So right now it's all done. I've got all the wiring finished. The Amp Pro I've got sitting up there on the back seat right there. But this is the passenger side trunk. That's the tuner for the radio, and that is the Bose amplifier. There's nothing in the instructions. There's no information, but basically you have to cut the speaker leads off the Bose harness to tap into the factory leads, which was not aware of. So I had to pull all this out, pull the Bose amp out, identify all of the leads, cut, tap, do my speed wire, and it's all done now and running up, and the speed wire is right there. As far as the amp rack, I did nut zerts into the factory hole right there, so that thread sticking out. And this is an example of what it's gonna look like. That's a thumb tightening nut that you can take right off. That's a 90-degree aluminum bracket and then ballistic plastic. So I'll be forming that all together as one piece on both sides. And what that's going to do is hold the amp rack levitating above the floor. So it'll be floating above the floor 2 inches, and then the amps will be across there. That way he can remove the sub enclosure, still lift up on this floor and pull the floor out to get to the spare tire, since the amps will be floating above the floor. Luckily, I should be able to have this thing done by Sunday or Monday morning, since Padawan came by and he got the audio control speakers, 2.75s up in the dash. He got the 6.5s in the front doors and the 6.5s in the rear doors. So with the speakers all done, I can focus on the trunk back here, which is what I'm going to do all day tomorrow. I took advantage of the fact that Padawan was here and had him help me, so I could go ahead and get this loaded up in the back of the F-150. So that's in there and bolted down, so I could now proceed with getting the subs installed. Then the top half needs to go across here, and these are the speaker leads that are going to be going up from the crossovers right there to the three-ways. That's in there now, but this is on the back burner until I get that done. So what I'm trying to say is it's like 9 o'clock at night and I'm really, really tired and I want to go home. So I will see you tomorrow. It's Saturday in the shop and this morning has already just went to crap because it's not this morning. It's about almost 2 o'clock in the afternoon and I haven't done anything on any of these cars. Reason being is the Dodge Journey that was here for the warranty for just a new backup camera should have been a simple 5-minute replace the camera. my distributors decided to send me the wrong camera, which required me to pull out the entire install and run an entirely new camera, turned into 3 hours of labor for nothing. So that's what happens when basically people can't do their jobs. I run into that a lot. I think I'm gonna actually stop using distributors. I'm just gonna go with my direct, and then I'll use Amazon from now on, because at least with Amazon, I could return the product and they'll send me a shipping label, or I could, have something overnighted and have it, replaced next day. So now with the day almost gone, we finally get to work. So it's gonna be another late one. Getting a little tired of it, honestly. All right, sorry for the background noise, but that's the air conditioner. You're gonna hear that all summer. It's getting pretty warm. But here in the Chevy Cruze, got the Pack Amp Pro installed, mounted, everything's wired, speed wires done, RCAs are run down, go across, all goes under the floor. The battery is down there, so we have the 2 powers coming out for the amps, we have 2 grounds, the RCAs, and the speed wire. Now, a lot of people say something about running RCAs right next to wire like that. First of all, that's a ground wire, but secondly, the Stinger Series 4000, I know some people say they don't like them. I think it's because they're using them incorrectly. I've never got noise. Ever since I've been using the Series 4000s, I never get noise. But they are directional, so you have to put them in the right direction. That's why the sticker says connect to source. If you were to flip that and put it the other way, you'll get noise because your bleed wire is going the wrong direction. Now that that's finished, I can put the carpet back in over here, get the floor back in, and then go work in the wood shop where I'm not crunched over killing myself and start building the floating amp rack. I also forgot to video or mention that I upgraded the center channel speaker to the Audio Control 3.5. I'm leaving the center channel on the Bose amplifier. The reason for that is I was very surprised. I did not realize how much the center channels utilized in music. On most cars, the center channel isn't really utilized on music because there's no surround sound processor. So it's usually for chimes and Bluetooth and things like that. This actually plays the music through the center channel. So it's gonna be nice for fill. It'll make your dash seem a little bit wider and bigger, but it's not going to be directional to where you should hear the vocals coming right from the center. So unfortunately, I think I've hit my limit. I'm done for the day. I'm so tired. I think I finally hit it. I've been doing 12 and 15-hour days every day this week, and I'm having a real hard time focusing and trying to work. Shit. It's 7 o'clock and I'm gonna go home, go to bed. I'll get up at like 6 or 7 in the morning and get here really early to try to make up for this lost time for leaving a few hours earlier than I expected, but show you where I got. So that is the amp rack. I've got it temporarily taped together for the front plate so I didn't know where it was gonna land. There's the brackets. I used right angle and 90-degree angle iron, aluminum. So I built that framework so that actually holds the amp rack above the floor so that you can still take the floor out and get to the spare tire wheel. Also, it is Saturday. So that's it. You guys won't see this done until the next video, and you won't see the truck until next week. So subscribe if you want to see how these turn out. Remember, after the cruise, I got to get back on this and get this thing finished up. So hope you enjoyed this week. I'm going to bed. Later.